Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some significant news. Pippa Middleton's shocking revelation about her marriage has left Catherine in tears. Pippa Middleton's revelations about her marriage to James Matthews caused a stir within the royal family and the public domain. Insider reports suggest that the news profoundly impacted Princess Catherine, causing her to shed tears upon learning the specifics. Catherine, having just resumed her royal responsibilities after a hiatus due to health issues, was already under significant strain. The emotional gravity of her sister's disclosure exacerbated her load, leaving her visibly unsettled. The news disseminated swiftly, with media outlets and social media platforms abuzz with conjecture and opinion. The disclosure was especially catastrophic for Catherine, since it revealed intimate aspects of her sister's marriage and may adversely affect the royal family's public perception. Although Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has always been in the public spotlight, this situation has significantly increased her vulnerability. The disclosure prompted inquiries over the stability of Pippa's marriage and, therefore, the overarching dynamics within the Middleton family. Acquaintances of the royal family voiced concern over the potential impact on Catherine's well-being, particularly as she continued to contend with her health challenges. Insiders observed that Catherine tried to preserve a semblance of normality and fortitude for her children. Nonetheless, the news from her sister seemed to briefly disrupt her calm. The public's responses were similarly fervent. News sources published headlines that speculated about the nature of Pippa's disclosures, suggesting that the enduring difficulties between her and James had finally come to light. Social media users inundated internet forums with conjectures on the couple's relationship, with some expressing empathy for both Pippa and Catherine, while others condemned the media for sensationalizing private affairs. The royal family, known for its reticence, chose not to comment on the issue. However, palace officials reportedly held confidential discussions about how to manage the repercussions. Some proposed that Catherine should temporarily withdraw from public activities to prioritize her family, while others contended that maintaining a dignified public presence was crucial. The emotional ramifications of the discovery transcended Catherine. Pippa, who had always preserved a dignified and serene public persona, found herself abruptly at the epicenter of a media frenzy. Acquaintances disclosed that she had been grappling with the burdens of her personal life for an extended period, and the choice to articulate her experiences was not chosen impulsively. Concurrently, James Matthews maintained a conspicuous silence, intensifying rumors over his involvement in the matter. The amalgamation of royal connections, prominent associations, and a profoundly intimate disclosure generated an ideal tempest of public intrigue, compelling both the Middleton and royal families to contend with the repercussions. The development of Pippa Middleton's relationship with James Matthews. Pippa Middleton's love relationship with James Matthews was rather unconventional. Their relationship was characterized by a gradual bond that evolved, influenced by previous relationships and individual development. Prior to her encounter with James, Pippa was in a stable relationship with Alex Eldon, a former cricket player who had provided unwavering support throughout her life. For a while, their relationship appeared to be a solid and lasting alliance based on reciprocal comprehension. Nonetheless, circumstances shifted when Pippa saw James Matthews at the Eden Rock Hotel in St. Bart's. The meeting was concise but impactful, with consequences that lasted even after her return to London. In contrast to Alex, who provided familiarity and comfort, James radiated a subtle confidence that captivated Pippa. James, being older and more reticent, exuded a steadiness that contrasted with the media scrutiny she had grown accustomed to. James never aggressively sought her out nor intruded into her current relationship. Instead, he maintained a respectful distance, allowing their bond to evolve naturally. This constraint just intensified Pippa's interest. Although she had emotional stability with Alex, James possessed a distinct quality: his tranquil attitude and unwavering presence, sharply contrasted with the volatility of her public existence. As time progressed, Pippa became more attracted to James, but she was not prepared to act on her emotions at that moment. Following the amicable conclusion of her engagement with Alex, she engaged in a short, romantic involvement with Nico Jackson, an affable and well-connected individual who seemed to epitomize the ideal public partner. Their partnership was characterized by prominent public appearances, stylish moments, and extensive media scrutiny. Nonetheless, an underlying deficiency persisted. Pippa then confessed in private discussions that, while Nico was charismatic, he lacked the profundity and emotional intimacy she had started to need. James always maintained a supportive presence in the background, never intruding into her life but always there when she needed assistance. His tolerance and subtle comprehension became more essential to Pippa, particularly as she maneuvered the difficulties of public scrutiny. The conclusion of her relationship with Nico in 2015 was not marked by drama, but rather by a mutual acknowledgement of their divergent aspirations. This allowed James to advance, not as a mere rebound, but as an individual who had been anticipating the opportune time. Their reunion was gradual and intentional. Pippa and James deliberately allowed their relationship to evolve free from the demands of public attention. They engaged in tranquil nights, had significant dialogues, and established a foundation grounded on reciprocal respect and emotional support. In July 2016, while on a tranquil excursion to the Lake District, James proposed to Pippa with an exquisite diamond engagement ring. She acquiesced without reluctance, signifying the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Their engagement garnered significant attention, since Pippa's position as the sister of the Princess of Wales kept their romance in the public eye. At 33 and James at 51, their age disparity was significant, however. For Pippa, it only affirmed that she had discovered someone who really comprehended her. Their wedding in May 2017 at St. Mark's Church in Berkshire was an intimate but opulent event, attended by close relatives and friends, including royal family members. The event represented not only a marriage of two persons, but also the completion of a journey characterized by personal development, emotional fortitude, and the enduring power of love that has withstood the passage of time. Pippa Middleton's formative years and professional journey, the underpinnings of a public persona. Pippa Middleton was born on September 6, 1983, in Reading, England, into a family that would subsequently become one of the most prominent names in British culture. Her parents, Michael and Carolee Middleton, sprang from very disparate backgrounds. Michael's lineage was connected to the British aristocracy, but Carolee's forebears were coal workers and laborers from County Durham. The disparity in background significantly influenced the ideals and work ethic that would subsequently characterize Pippa's lifestyle. In 1984, the family had an unexpected relocation to Amman, Jordan, due to Michael's employment with British Airways. This short but impactful encounter introduced the young Pippa to a world outside the English countryside, fostering in her a feeling of flexibility and inquisitiveness. The matrimony of Pippa Middleton and James Matthews, a convergence of divergences. The marriage of Pippa Middleton and James Matthews, once considered a storybook romance, progressively unveiled the intricacies of their contrasting personalities and lives. In the first years, their romance seemed to epitomize an ideal fusion of allure and consistency. Pippa, familiar with public scrutiny owing to her sister's royal position, infused their relationship with inherent elegance and composure. She was at ease in social environments, skilled at managing media scrutiny, and recognized for her kind but collected disposition. Conversely, James embodied a subtle fortitude, preferring the solace of anonymity to the scrutiny of fame. His reticent disposition and subtle presence instilled a feeling of tranquility in Pippa's sometimes tumultuous existence, making their relationship seemingly harmonious at first observation. Their wedding in May 2017 at St. Mark's Church in Berkshire was a scenic occasion, attended by immediate relatives and friends, including royal family members. Pippa seemed resplendent in a bespoke Alexander McQueen gown, while James, the epitome of composure, radiated subdued pride. The couple's choice to move to an opulent £17 million property in Chelsea demonstrated their mutual appreciation for sophistication and privacy. Their residence, with a private gym, cinema, and staff quarters, became a refuge from public scrutiny. Notwithstanding their affluence and prominence, Pippa and James maintained a modest lifestyle, prioritizing familial commitments and philanthropic activities above public attention. As time progressed, the pronounced disparities in their personalities started to emerge. Pippa, who had consistently flourished in social interactions and public engagements, became more attracted to philanthropy and prominent charitable activities. She stayed engaged in initiatives related to children's health, education, and fitness, often participating in marathons, cycling races, and charitable fundraisers. Conversely, James favored a more alone lifestyle. His expertise in finance and commerce fostered a profound regard for privacy, and he was recognized for his hesitance to interact with the media or participate in social events. Although he supported Pippa's philanthropic endeavors, he often maintained a subordinate role, allowing her to take the spotlight. Initially, this dynamic proved advantageous for them. Pippa's extroverted disposition complemented James's introverted character, while his subtle fortitude offered her a feeling of security. Over time, the increasing divergence between their public and private lives started to generate subtle but substantial conflict. James's escalating retreat from public engagements, first considered a manifestation of his desire for seclusion, ultimately evolved into a cause for worry. Pippa, having dedicated years to mastering the intricacies of fame, found herself solely responsible for managing their public persona. Acquaintances of the couple observed that, while they maintained a polite rapport, an implicit estrangement existed between them, one that would inevitably expand in the following years. The silent divide, escalating strains behind secluded entrances. Over the years, the formerly idyllic marriage of Pippa Middleton and James Matthews started to exhibit indications of strain, characterized by subtle but escalating difficulties that transcended their personal differences. Pippa, who had always preserved a poised public persona, began to display indications of emotional fatigue. She was more discerning with her public appearances, often attending charity events and social parties alone, while James was conspicuously missing. Acquaintances of the couple observed that Pippa's once vibrant disposition had waned, as her smiles were infrequent and her engagements with the media became more circumspect. Stylists and fashion pundits noted a transition in her attire, observing that she had shifted from brilliant colors and striking designs to more modest, neutral tones. These alterations, however minor, indicated a profound transformation in her emotional condition. The increasing estrangement between Pippa and James was apparent not just in their public engagements, but also in their private exchanges. Insiders said that the couple's once vibrant social life had become more insular, characterized by a reduction in joint activities and a marked fall in expressions of love. Pippa, formerly recognized for her friendliness and approachability, started to distance herself from family events, especially those with James's relatives. The conflict was especially evident with James's younger brother, Spencer Matthews, and his spouse, Vogue Williams. The pair, known for their forthright personas and public visibility, had once maintained a strong relationship with Pippa. An apparently casual remark made by Vogue on a 2022 podcast ignited what several sources saw as an unacknowledged divide. Although the comment was not expressly aimed at Pippa, many acquainted with the couple's relationship comprehended its significance. The remark, alluding to the difficulties of belonging to a prominent family, was seen by some as a discreet criticism of Pippa's relationship with James. The encounter was a pivotal moment, as Pippa became more hesitant to interact with James's family in both public and private contexts. James, for his part, remained mostly reticent throughout these events. In contrast to Pippa, who had dedicated years to mastering the challenges of celebrity and public scrutiny, James had always favored remaining out of the limelight. His reserved disposition, once a source of solace for Pippa, now seemed to undermine their relationship. Friends said that James's hesitance to participate in challenging discussions or openly endorse his wife during periods of conflict exacerbated the increasing emotional detachment between them. Although he never explicitly chastised Pippa or conveyed dissatisfaction, his absence throughout significant events in her life rendered her more alone. Instead of confronting the escalating worries directly, James seemed to withdraw farther into his realm, concentrating on his business pursuits and personal interests, while Pippa managed the intricacies of their public and private lives independently. The couple's choice to conceal their personal difficulties from the public intensified rumors over their marriage. In contrast to several prominent individuals who attempted to manipulate narratives via meticulously curated remarks or interviews, Pippa and James opted for quiet. They ceased public celebrations of their anniversaries, abstained from publishing personal updates on social media, and seldom attended gatherings together. This intentional seclusion incited speculation that their relationship had encountered a stalemate. Some conjectured that James's heightened concentration on his financial endeavors, particularly his position at Eden Rock Capital Management, had afforded less opportunity for their marriage to flourish. Others believed that Pippa's increasing dedication to her philanthropic endeavors and personal development had engendered an insurmountable chasm between them. No matter the reason, those closest to the couple agreed on one thing: something had changed, and their once strong bond was beginning to break. Pippa Middleton's elegant withdrawal from public life and the challenges of celebrity status. As the strains of her personal life intensified, Pippa Middleton started a withdrawal from the public sphere, exhibiting a quiet resolve that underscored her increasing fortitude. In contrast to several prominent personalities who react to crises with theatrical declarations or media clashes, Pippa opted for a different approach, one characterized by intentional quiet and a reinvigorated commitment to the issues she has always championed. Acquaintances and confidants saw that instead of seeking affirmation or trying to manipulate the narrative, she channeled her efforts into significant endeavors that were independent of public scrutiny. Her dedication to charity, especially with children's health and welfare, served as a source of comfort and meaning. She continued to support organizations such as the British Heart Foundation and Mary Hare School for the Deaf, frequently working in the background rather than seeking recognition. Notwithstanding her attempts to preserve a semblance of normality, the difficulties of public scrutiny persisted. Pippa had dedicated years to mastering the navigation of the scrutiny associated with her family's connection to the royal family, yet the escalating pressures of her personal life made the experience more onerous. The paparazzi persistently tracked her travels, and media conjecture on her marriage remained unyielding. Unlike her sister Catherine, who entered royal life with clearly defined roles and obligations, Pippa had never sought public attention. Her original ascent to prominence was unforeseen, originating from a solitary occasion during her sister's wedding, and she has since endeavored to establish her identity beyond that unique occurrence. As her marriage began to deteriorate, she once again became the focus of unwelcome scrutiny. Pippa's reaction to the increasing public fascination with her private life was composed and respectful. She refrained from public confrontations and did not provide remarks to counter the rumors. Instead, she concentrated on acts that resonated more profoundly than words, committing herself to philanthropic endeavors, engaging with her children, and preserving a feeling of seclusion that had been more difficult to maintain. Her decision to withdraw from prominent events and social gatherings was not a sign of failure, but a deliberate choice to regain control over her life. She persisted in engaging in charitable activities, although only on her conditions, often eschewing media engagements and confining her public appearances to instances when her involvement may have a significant impact. Despite her attempts to project a calm demeanor, those closest to her recognized the emotional burden the scenario had imposed. Pippa, formerly recognized for her effortless charm and social grace, now exuded an aura of subdued melancholy. She had mastered the intricacies of fame according to her standards, although the burden of perpetual scrutiny and the difficulties of her personal life had altered her methodology. Instead of pursuing affirmation or resisting the demands of public life, she adopted a more understated lifestyle, one that allowed her to concentrate on what was critical, free from the incessant scrutiny of the media. Pippa Middleton and James Matthews, disputes and public examination. In addition to the personal tensions in their marriage, Pippa Middleton and James Matthews were embroiled in other public disputes that exacerbated their already scrutinized relationship. A highly publicized incident pertained to the couple's choice to limit public access to a local trail across their Berkshire estate. The walkway, used by local inhabitants for years, became contentious when Pippa and James erected a closed gate and displayed warning signs, obstructing the locals from using it. The pair said that the walkway was situated on private property and had never been formally recognized as a public right-of-way, eliciting irritation from the surrounding community. Many locals, who relied on the walkway for their daily walks and school commutes, perceived a disruption to their lifestyle without adequate justification. The dispute intensified when James Matthews, via his estate manager, officially petitioned the local council to designate the walkway as private property, so legally restricting public access. The council, anticipated to reach a conclusive resolution by 2025, found itself entangled between the couple's legal assertions and the locals' emotional connection to the route. Certain detractors said that Pippa and James prioritized their privacy at the expense of communal traditions, with local media emphasizing the apparent disparity between the couple's affluence and the quotidian issues faced by the surrounding populace. The event incited public animosity and solidified the belief that James, specifically, was becoming more reclusive and inflexible about his personal affairs. The walkway contention was not the only obstacle the couple encountered. In 2023, Pippa's parents, Michael and Carol Lee Middleton, had financial challenges with their family business, Party Pieces. The firm, a fundamental element of the Middleton family's prosperity, declared bankruptcy after incurring over £2.6 million in outstanding bills. The business's downfall reverberated across the media, with several individuals associating the financial difficulties with the overarching narrative of the Middletons' public persona. Pippa's indirect involvement in the administration of Party Pieces rendered the company's failure a significant burden on her personal life. The problem became more complex when James Sinclair, the new proprietor of Party Pieces, neglected to resolve the existing obligations, resulting in financial losses for suppliers and former workers. The media capitalized on the narrative, portraying it as just another instance of the pressures and intricacies associated with the Middletons' prominent position. The resurgence of James Matthews' previous financial activities, notably his association with Heather Capital, a hedge fund that imploded due to fraud claims in the early 2010s, exacerbated these concerns. Although James and his firm, Eden Rock Capital Management, had divested their shares prior to the fund's failure, the event had already attracted the attention of financial authorities and the media. Although no proof of misconduct has ever been discovered against James personally, the heightened focus on his financial past has created an unpleasant portrayal, especially at a period when his marriage to Pippa is already under significant public scrutiny. The conflicts, together with the couple's increasing emotional detachment, fostered a feeling of instability that several onlookers found hard to overlook. Public and expert responses, the prospects of Pippa and James's matrimony. As suspicion over Pippa Middleton and James Matthews' relationship intensified, public and expert perspectives on their future diverged significantly. Some observers said that the couple's profound bond and shared history indicated the potential for reconciliation, but others asserted that the emotional detachment and increasing divergence in their objectives had already established an irreparable divide. Dr. Margaret Langley, a behavioral psychologist specializing in prominent partnerships, said that while Pippa and James initially seemed to enhance each other's talents, their divergent attitudes to public life likely exacerbated their challenges. Pippa has consistently been an individual who flourishes in social interactions and communal objectives, Langley revealed. Conversely, James has constantly favored privacy and discretion. Over time, these intrinsic disparities may have rendered it more challenging for them to sustain a unified union. The public's response to the couple's predicament was markedly polarized. Certain proponents of the Middletons expressed empathy for Pippa, recognizing the significant difficulties she faced as both a public person and the sister of a monarch. Pippa has consistently exhibited poise, even in challenging situations, said a royal analyst. She has endured significant challenges, from the initial notoriety of serving as a royal bridesmaid to the intense scrutiny surrounding her marriage. It is evident that she is endeavoring to safeguard her family and uphold her dignity. Conversely, other critics suggested that the couple's financial and legal disputes have exacerbated their marital tensions. A social media commenter said, "The footpath issue and her parents' business difficulties have cast them in a negative light. It is difficult to overlook that their lives have grown increasingly complex over the years." Notwithstanding the hurdles, several insiders maintained optimism over the potential for reconciliation. A close acquaintance of the couple said, "They possess a robust foundation. They have endured challenging times previously and both hold family in high regard. If they can devise a method to re-establish communication and resolve their disparities, there remains potential for optimism." Nevertheless, others were less persuaded. "The emotional estrangement between them has been escalating for years," another person said. "They may have arrived at a juncture where their trajectories are irreconcilably divergent." As the world observed, the future of Pippa and James's marriage lingered in ambiguity, exemplifying the intricacies of love, celebrity, and the burdens of public scrutiny. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.